Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started. So I just want to welcome everyone to today's call. Thank you so much for joining me. We are actually at day 8 of my 10-day live challenge. So today we are discussing, and this is a topic that you all requested, how to fund your home care agency. And so, as a reminder, guys, I do need to make sure that I let you all know I have created 2 free checklists to help you in your new business journey. Both are absolutely free. So, of course, I created one for those of you starting your non medical home care agencies. And then I have also created a general one that can help you stand up any of your businesses. So, again, those are both free of charge. They will be in the description once I get this video uploaded and posted a little bit later on today. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So guys, the person that requested this video wanted to explore what options do we have to fund our home care agencies outside of cash. And so without having a conversation with this person, I just have to assume here that cash on hand is not available. So with that, I'm just going to discuss potential, the way that I'm going to do this is explore sources of income that have cash value. And then I'm going to explore sources of income in terms of credit and or loan. So that's how I'm going to approach today's video. So the first tip that I have for you guys is, put together a plan for funding. This should be once you decide. So as soon as you decide this is something that you want to pursue, you should put together a plan of action. So this includes creating a business plan. Okay, because in that business plan, you are going to detail what funding you will use for your startup. So, because I'm not sure of the circumstances surrounding not having the cash, what I am going to assume is that, we're working. Okay, so if you're working, part of that plan may be to put some of that money aside as you are working. Okay, now I can go ahead and see both sides of the coin. That may not be an option either, right? Because sometimes as we're working, it's taking every bit of that income that we have to pay our bills, to sustain our current way of living. So, again, I'm going to assume that that cash is not available. If it is for you in your circumstance, please make sure that's a part of your plan, to kind of tuck a little bit aside, even if it's just a little. Whatever you can do, try to tuck that aside. Okay. I also wanted to point out that I recently did a video on how to fund your home care agency. So I will be sure to include that in the description. I think I talked about that earlier, but I will be sure to include that in the video description. Okay, so the second area we're going to discuss is we're going to explore those sources of income that have a cash value. Okay, so whenever there is an absence of cash, you can determine what other funds do you have that have cash value. So, of course, the first thing that I'm going to look at is withdrawing funds from a 401k plan or for any IRA accounts that you may have. Now, guys, I don't take this suggestion lightly. I think I mentioned that in the video that I did before. I love how my husband phrases this. You don't want to take money from your future self, right? Because you're going to need those funds that you set aside for your retirement and for those later years. Okay. So as a precaution, definitely I want to let you guys know that you may be exposed to early withdrawal penalties. And then in many instances, there will most likely be a plan to pay this money back. So what you would simply need to do is call the institution that holds your IRA or your 401k to see what those penalties, what your exposures are. And guys, I will definitely say this, even if there is not, because I know that there are some instances, and depending on how long you've had the plan with that institution, they may actually allow you to do a one-time withdrawal without penalty. I would still try to pay that money back because again, this is your future money that you test. This is your nest egg, right? So you want to make sure that you keep that going because your future self is going to want to need that. So definitely that would be my advice. But again, you would have to do what's best for you. Okay, life insurance policies are another option. If a cash value is present, same thing. You would reach out to who holds that life insurance policy, and then you would reach out to that carrier to see what the rules are. Now, I will be honest, I can't remember what the I use myself as an example that I can't remember the circumstances. But I have had to exercise this option. Me personally, I have had to do this. This was earlier. Uh, I would say maybe about 10 years ago. And it really, whatever it was at that time, I really needed those funds. And then it did take me some time, but I was finally able to pay those funds back. But again, it is a source of income, guys. So remember, you're really, this is not something we're playing with. This is not so you can buy a purse. This is not so you can buy shoes. This is you starting your business, which has the potential to elevate your life. And so when those things happen, you want to make sure that you're exploring, you're being creative with the funds that you could explore to fund your dream. Okay. Now, guys, last night I did a quick search. So I'm going to make sure I put these in the description as well. Grants. Grants are an excellent option. So I did find two. Now, these say that they are specific to people start standing up their home care agencies. So I loved that they actually called that out. And again, I just did a simple Google search. So I will make sure that both of those are available to you, and I will include those in the description. Okay. Probably by the time I post this, I'm gonna try to see if I could drill down a little bit in both of those areas. All right. Um, so that's the cash value option. So those are options that, if you exercise them, it's the same as cash. The only thing that you may need to consider specific to the 401k, specific to the IRA accounts, is if there's any interest. I'm sorry, penalties involved. Okay. The third item that I have here is exploring alternate sources of income that involve credit and or loans. So again, I feel like, I wouldn't feel comfortable with myself if I didn't mention, you definitely don't want to play with your credit. Okay. And I'm not assuming that you would when I say that. It's just I want to caution people. Finance charges, interest rates, they're no joke. Okay. So you just want to make sure that if those items are available to you, wow, great, that's a blessing. But you want to make sure that you understand the consequences of what those payments look like. And then you want to make sure that you have a plan in play, a tangible plan of how you plan to pay off those payments. Here's the good thing. What I do like about lines of credits, what I do like about credit cards is, guys, that minimum payment does come in handy. If the minimum payment there is $50 and you have that 50 while you continue to pour money into your business, that's great. But as soon as you can, and if you have the money to do so, you always want to pay more than that minimum. Always want to pay more than that minimum, and you want to get that balance paid off as soon as you can. I think I did share in my that video that I did. I have I did take out an extra line of credit. Now, for this particular reason, I truly don't remember why I did it. It almost makes me wonder, should I have done it, right? But in this case, I don't remember why I took that line of credit out. But I do remember the only reason why I took that line of credit out is because I was expecting money to fund, money to come through. So I just needed that line of credit to float me for those. I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 months. But as soon as those funds came in, I paid off the entire balance. I didn't mess around. Okay. And of course, guys, what I have to mention here is the SBA, the Small Business Administration. Um, I like to use this because they exist in order to help us thrive, right? Small businesses move our communities forward. And hopefully, you live in a community that really has a strong chapter. I think I mentioned this before earlier as well. The one that I was participating in, they had frequent webinars, they had in-class sessions. I actually got an email actually the other day for their August calendar, but really talking about, different tools that you can utilize to run your business, to grow your business, to market your business. How to do business with that particular city, that particular community. Which again, guys, the more you can get in person and shake hands and get to know people, of course, that will be best for your home care agency. You've got to build those relationships. Okay, but just so that you're aware, for our knowledge, the SBA enables easier access to capital. Because I know sometimes the question is, well, why don't I just go to the bank and apply for a loan, right? The SBA is actually making it easier for you to access those lenders. They will match you up with the lender who is willing to go ahead and make those funds available for you. Okay. What we most of us would probably be interested in, I did a little bit of research on this, is microloans. So the smallest loan that the SBA has available, or I should say type, is the microloan. So this is providing $50,000 or less. And guys, what I love here is it says to help your business start up and expand. Because again, I know a lot of you, when you reach out to me, you've actually already stood up your home care agency, but you're kind of running out of those funds that, you set aside to get the business going. Okay. So these funds are also for startup and also for expansion, which I love. Okay. Um, but again, these are some things that I kind of thought of. These are some items that some of them I have had to explore myself. Again, I think most of us would want to use whatever cash we have on hand, and of course, explore the sources of income that we have that have cash value. Because again, most of us, we don't want to acquire that debt. It's really hard to move when you're consistently putting money into your business, and then, of course, you have to pay down debt. So, the best thing to do, if you can, is to explore those items that have cash value. Okay. One thing that I did want to mention, and I remember when I was starting my home care agency, I watched another YouTuber talk through this topic. And one of the things she said that stuck with me is, guys, for a lot of these things, we're going to have to use cash. And so I think I need to be honest in this video as well. You have to use cash. At some point or another, you're going to have to put cash into your business. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And sometimes you're lucky enough to where you don't have to. Hopefully you do have those sources here that we talked through where you can make some withdrawals. But at some point, I think you're going to have to anticipate having to have cash available. So just keep that in mind, okay? Keep that in mind, as you go through and figure out how you're going to get this stood up. You can do it. You guys can do it. If I was able to do it, you guys can do it. But some of it is going to be taking us operating a little bit lean for some months, right? Cutting down on some of those other expenses that are nice to have, but not necessarily needs, right? Um, but I definitely want to set the expectation appropriately. All right. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed that particular video. Okay, guys, that's all I have today. Stay blessed.